Is that the twin brothers?
The twins, yeah.
Those guys are nasty.
They're under Sam Braga. So cool. That's kind of cool. So I can go down there and I see them and, they're going to rough me up. But, I need it.
All right, we're live. Bobby Lindamood, welcome to the podcast, dude.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you having me.
Man, how was your drive?
Good. Super easy. As much as I go to High Point, it's just like the suburbs of Roanoke.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Roanoke's pretty cool, man. We when we went up to your opening of your new school this last weekend, I'd never been up there yet. So we were like driving in there's it's pretty interesting going into, what do they say, Virginia's for lovers?
Yeah.
So like I'm on the phone with all like buddies back here as I'm driving up there and we're just like cracking jokes and shit. I don't want to say what they were, but anyways, but beautiful drive there, pulling into the town. It's a pretty old city, right? Like, Is it coal mining that was there, or like, are you from there?
I'm from there. Yeah, railroads.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what was that? What's that town? Railroads. It's like a center hub or something, or
yeah, it used to be the home of Norfolk Southern Railroad, and you had all the shops there, all the where they rebuilt the locomotives and everything. Now all that's moved out now, but that was kind of what the core of downtown Roanoke was. You saw train tracks everywhere.
Wow. What's like the population there?
Probably a little over 100.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
How many jiu-jitsu schools are there? Do you know?
All of them.
Really? There's a lot there?
It used to be that there was a lot of stand-up places, stand-up martial arts, taekwondo type of things like that. And then those guys started fading out, going out of business. And then you started, that place got filled up with different jiu-jitsu places and different places in town. I know when I started jiu-jitsu, there was probably 3 places in town that taught it. And we had 1 black belt in town. That was it.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I mean, jiu-jitsu as a whole is just really kind of taken off. Like it's getting to be more mainstream, I would think. Right. I mean, just from what I see, I mean, like, all the different schools opening up, even through our lineage, and then all the amount of people coming, all the people that are at your school currently, that's, how did that look like from the beginning of when you like started? And we'll kind of bounce around and we'll talk about like, I just, whatever comes to my mind is what I'm going to say basically. But,
sure.
But yeah, so like, how did that kind of look for you when you decided, hey, I'm going to go and open up a martial arts school? Because you have, first I want to say is you do possess multiple black belts in other martial arts. And obviously you got your black belt. Has it been a couple years now?
Yeah, my BJJ black belt I got 3 years.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say it's been a minute now. And then obviously, so like run me through like how that was, like when you opened your first school and kind of how the demographics were when you decided to do that.
Well, when I first started, I was actually as an instructor. There was another commercial gym in town, and I taught classes there. My wife and I started doing taekwondo back in '92, right after we got married. I've done it before. I started when I was 8 years old doing martial arts, and we got to where this was going to be something that the two of us could do together. I already had a brown belt, but I wanted to start over because if I was already in the advanced level, my wife is just starting, we weren't going to be able to do it together, which that was what our goal was, is like, we want to do something that we can both have fun together and do. So I started back over as white belt, which wasn't a big super deal to me. We worked through it together. We both got up to the spot where we were testing for our first degree, and then her expression is, well, I knocked her up. That's how I was able to get ahead of her. So, we ended up having our first kid, Taylor, and it put me probably 6-7 months ahead of her as far as getting my first degree. I got my first degree in '94. And I was already teaching a little bit as a red belt, helping my instructor out, Robbie Lacey, in Roanoke with his academy. And then I was also involved in the family trucking business, which is what my family have done prior to World War II. My granddad, he actually had to close down Lindy's Motor Freight when he got drafted for World War II. So We've been doing trucking forever. In '05, we made a family decision to close this trucking company down. And I went into corporate America for a hot minute. I was the operations manager for a beverage company. I decided, man, I can't work for other people. You do it so much on your own, making your rules, doing what needs to be done for your business. A lot of times what you're needing done and what other people think they need done aren't exactly a good fit. So I'm like, I just need to do this on my own. So we had an opportunity to buy an academy that was already existing, had about 35 students. Most of the students were either family members or church members, so they were all about free. They weren't paying hardly anything, which I changed that real quick.
Yeah.
Within 6 months, I lost every single one of them. So I had to rebuild it and get it back up. And I've ran my school full-time since 2005.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, the place that you had before, because you just got into a new facility, beautiful, by the way, awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Sick.
I appreciate you.
I can't wait to see this thing kind of take off. And shout out to Roanoke. If anyone's in Roanoke right now and you need to go to a legit martial arts school, you need to check out Bobby Lindamood's martial arts.
I appreciate it.
Just the background lineage that I know where you come from, these dudes are legit. I mean, not to knock any other schools or anything like that. Jiu-jitsu is for everybody, but I would say that if I had to, I've bounced around tons of schools too. I found my home, and I've been able to change my life. The game's progressed, and we're pretty much a big family, really. So, so it's beautiful. But I don't know, I was kind of losing track there. But so you started. Was that school in the beginning, the first school that you started, it was like a little bit smaller place, and now this facility is pretty big that you're in now?
Yeah, where my first location was actually up into a little gas station, little small spot, doing nothing but straight traditional taekwondo, Chunhan taekwondo, a little bit of cardio kickboxing. That was it. Had no interest in doing anything else. At that point, I was already a 3rd degree black belt in taekwondo. I got my 4th degree not long after I opened up my academy. And that was kind of where I was happy. My landlord was going to move me into the basement of that building, which is going to put me in a floodplain. And I wasn't a realtor yet, but I did know that floodplains are not a good thing for you to put your business in. So we found the church where we were at now, and it wasn't long after that. Professor Snyder was bringing in Danny Dring and Joe Lewis for one of the kickboxing camps, and there was a lot, and you'll see a lot of this that has happened over the last years that I've known these guys. Professor Snyder says, you need to be down here. I don't ask a lot of questions. I just come down. And we went and did this. I brought some students to the seminar. And then Master Dring had the Jujutsu seminar. And we took it, and we went away, and I went, yeah, that was okay. That was all right. I don't know. I still had a lot of ego in me about.
What year was this?
Oh, this would have been, 06, 07, okay, something like that.
A minute ago.
Yeah. And we got training, and my guys liked it a whole lot better than I did. Because like I was saying, I still had a lot of ego in me. I'm a 4th degree. I'm already a professional with this. I didn't feel like that I needed to do that element of it. And came back home, and I realized I had problems. I had the 4 or 5 students that I took down all loved this stuff and wanted to do more of it. So I called Professor Snyder. I was like, all right, what do we do? How am I going to have to either break the news to them that we're not doing this, lose them, or am I going to have to start doing this? And he said, well, congratulations, you've just started doing jiu-jitsu. And when are you going to quit? You're not. You're going to do this forever. and that's how we started. I was his first affiliate. I was affiliate as a white belt. So, I learned how to hip escape, a couple submissions. And then I would come down here once a month or so, and whenever I would get around him and learn a little bit more, but it was very slow in the process. And I had students that were very good and loyal to me and were patient with me learning too, because there was times that Professor Snyder may send me a video and say, hey, do this. And I would have to look at the video during class and go, is this what you guys are seeing? Because it's not working. And there was just a lot of stuff that the learning curve at the beginning was very hard for me, but I think it made it really good because I had to really focus on the fundamental details, because that's really all we kind of were presented with. We didn't have a lot of the high-end jiu-jitsu. There wasn't a lot of Spider Guard and De La Hiva. It was more, okay, side control. Does this feel heavy? I'm in mount. Does this feel heavy? I noticed that if I bring your elbow back, I can submit you, but I couldn't if it was out. So you're kind of learning you weren't ever taught it, but you learned it by doing it. And then I would end up coming down to, and that actually helped me much later as I got more rank, coming down and traveling, spending time with Professor Snyder and him fixing things in class, not in the open mats, but in class, and saying, hey, Lindy, you need to do this. Look, if you bring that hand in here, put your thumb on top, just little stuff like that. And then I would bring these little, to use the word of J.D. Shelley, get a Scooby snack. I got a Scooby snack, a thumb on top. I didn't know that. So fixing little points of my game, and then you're just fixing a lot of stuff. And then, surprisingly, 12 years later, I get my black belt. That's still kind of amazing.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome. And the thing is like back then, you didn't have like the social media and the videos and you didn't have like really anything to like fall on. Now, I'm a believer in video and watching film and that's just kind of how I learn. I'm not good like reading and writing per se. And so like podcasts and watching videos that's just my thing. And so like I could only imagine back then how much more difficult it would be. Trying to learn some of this.
The part for me that was good, and we still had YouTube, of course. YouTube was around.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, beginnings of Facebook, everybody was still making their Farmvilles and stuff like that. But nobody's really doing what we do with social media. But I was very scared at the beginning of doing things wrong. So I would do them the way that Professor Snyder told me to do them. And if I saw something that somebody else was doing, I was like, yeah, that's cool, but that's not how I do it. And I was very strict on this is how that he's, Professor Snyder's going to be the one that's going to be promoting me. So I need to do it the way that he wants me to do it. Yeah. Now, a little bit later on, I started, feeling that, okay, this is a minor detail that maybe helps with me. I've got some limitations with flexibility in my wrists. So, okay, I can't grip in this manner anymore, or I can't do this, but I can do this. And then I could tell my students, look, you could do it this way or you could do it this way. Modify, where you're kind of learning that jujitsu is, it's not just it's more of a blueprint on how to get you from here to here. And you get the big version of what needs to happen. But how you get there can kind of be your little bit personal journey, because, you and I are going to roll completely different, even though we have the same coach.
Correct. Yeah. That's how I feel. Like when we talk about like, this is your game. In the beginning, I thought like, okay, this is how the Seattle Seahawks play football. This is how the Vikings play football. And it's like real similar in that aspect. It's football at the end of the day, but two different schemes, same thing. When you run a slant's a slant, but then you start working in the details. Like, okay, instead of using a 6'5" guy running this route, we're going to use a 5'8" guy who's smaller, faster, and our quarterback who's 6'5" can jam it straight down the middle to him pretty quickly. Yeah. Right. Or vice versa. You have a smaller quarterback throwing to a bigger guy or something. So it's like, it definitely seems to me. And for definitely for my game, it's like, there's just some things that like I can't do, you know what I mean? Versus like, some of these stringier guys that's like, it's, like, I don't know. I feel like Hobson can do it all regardless. Yeah. Big or small. So I don't know. I can't speak to that level.
That's a different level.
But like we're kind of our game and where we're at in our jiu-jitsu, like, we can make adjustments just to ourselves. But so here you are, you've got, so we talked a little bit yesterday on kind of some of these struggles, and that was kind of, I was kind of in this weird place 9 months ago, 10 months ago or something. It was like right after the beginning of this year. And I kind of reached like this plateau in my jiu-jitsu where it was like still fun, but not really, but just didn't feel like I was like, I just felt like I was just doing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I've always had this good kind of disciplined mindset that just keep showing up. You know what I mean? Like, just keep showing up, dude. Like, yeah, you're not good. You're not where you think you should be or where you're going to be, but keep showing up. And then all of a sudden it started kind of changing. And I don't really know exactly what that was that changed. But we were talking about how certain levels you have more fun at. And for you, tell me what part of your jiu-jitsu journey from, obviously from white to black, like where was the time where you were struggling the most, and then whatever it was that changed for you, and then you started really having fun with jiu-jitsu. Tell me a little bit about that we were talking about.
Well, in a lot of what my martial arts knowledge at the beginning, it was 100% based on what I was presented with. And I don't remember a lot of when my very early times through Chung Do Kwan as a kid, as a teenager. It was more old school. We didn't have regular testings. It was just kind of, you were just presented the belt. When my first belt promotion, when I was a kid, I had my instructor came up to me and said, "Bobby, I have a new belt for you." And I was so excited. You know what that new belt was? A bigger white belt.
Oh.
I kid you not. My white belt did not fit, and he presented me with a white belt that fit. That was my promotion. So I went from that to getting into more of a quote-unquote commercial type martial arts, where every 2 months you're testing. And at the beginning levels, you're going up. I mean, white through green, something like that. I mean, if you're making attendance, you're doing the work, you get everything done, you're going to be okay. So got through that. And as a professional, I was kind of doing the same thing. So then when I started in jiu-jitsu, I noticed it was very similar. Okay, I have my white belt. I got a degree. A few months later, I'm showing up. I got a degree. A few months later, showing up, got a degree. And then around blue 2, blue 3, things just changed. I'm doing a lot of rank reviews, and I'm not going up. What's going on? And I started getting upset with me. I get mad at myself first. And then, of course, the next person to get mad about is my coach. I got to get mad with him. Because what's going on? Why am I not? I'm doing everything that I thought that I needed to be doing. I had a conversation, and it was actually the only time that I have been upset with my coach. And I think he was upset with me too. But that's okay. We get through it. You're supposed to do
Absolutely.
that. But we were talking about why am I not advancing? And Professor Snyder said, "Well, when was the last time you'd been down here for class?" And I said, "Well, I came down for this open mat. I did this open mat. I did the seminar. I did this seminar. I did this seminar." And he said, "Well, that wasn't what I asked you. When have you been down here for class? Because I'm not going to fix your stuff at an open mat or at a seminar." I was like, "Okay, yes, sir." "Well, I haven't. I haven't been down to class at all." "Okay." And he said, "Well, when was the last time you competed? As a school owner, how are you going to be able to get your students to certain levels if you haven't done it yourself?" And I said, "Well, and this is the truth. I had competed in stand-up. And I was a national champion in sparring, national champion in forms within our organizations, several different organizations. I did a lot of open tournaments, and I did a lot of that, and did it for 30 years. And honestly, I just did not enjoy it. I would get out there, and I was very much a slow starter at a tournament because I didn't feel the adrenaline. I was like, okay, I'm used to the noise. I'm used to the crowd. I'm used to people watching me. And the other guy across from me who hasn't been in a fight since high school is vibrating. So we get together, and this dude just smashes me. So I didn't have a good time, wasn't enjoying it. And so I told him, "Well, I'm not competing." And he goes, "Oh, okay." That was all Professor Snyder said was, "Oh, okay." So he all okayed me twice on you're not coming down to classes for me to fix you,
right,
and you're not going to tournaments. So, okay, well, okay. So suddenly I was no longer angry with him, and I said, "So what you're saying is that 99% of this problem is me?" And he said, "Yep." So I thought, okay, well, I'll show him. So I started going down every Thursday. Thursday was a better day for me as far as my training, so I went down every Thursday. And then, and I said, I'm going to compete everywhere. I did new breeds. I did U.S. grappling. I did, who are these others? Good Fight, IBJJF. Pretty much if it was a tournament, I went there. Mixed results. Sometimes I won, sometimes I lost. But, I was always learning, and I started having a good time. Next thing you know, I got promoted. And then I got promoted to purple belt. And then I'm kind of used to this now. I kept coming down. Kept coming down, kept coming down, kept coming down, kept coming down, kept competing. Started doing IBJJFs on my own, not just running with the safety of the team. I would go to Atlanta, I'd go to Charlotte, I'd go to Nashville, I'd go to Orlando, I'd do New York Open. I would go to these different events, and I would have some success. Sometimes I wouldn't, but I started noticing that I was having more fun it didn't matter if I only had 2 or 3 in my division or if I had a big division. I trained. I tried to put myself to where I'm going to fight 100 people. I wanted to give the best Lindy that I could into that event. So next thing you know, I'm like, I need to, COVID happened. And I was like, I need to get down more often because I'm doing actually less at my academy. I'm doing it on Zoom. So I don't need to be in the building as often. So I started coming down on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I remember.
And I was like, I'm thinking, dang, I'm almost living in High Point as much as I'm living in Roanoke. And then at the time, Professor Snyder had a visiting black belt in, and it was a lot of times, it was the 3 of us. And you would do these matches where you have one guy in the middle, and you know how you rotate out with 3 people?
Yep.
Well, I was ready for my rotation out, and it never happened. They just kept me in the middle and just smash, 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 smash. And I learned a lot. And then I got promoted to brown belt, and I went looking at my first worlds. And I ended up placing with a win.
Yeah, you
with
did.
my first worlds.
Congrats on that.
And it was so exciting, and I had so much fun. And then I did the next worlds, and I did the next worlds. I ended up, just due to the timing, in my time at brown belt, I was able to do 3 worlds.
Wow.
I placed in all 3 of them.
Nice.
And I placed in 2 pans, all at brown.
Congrats, dude.
I didn't do any of the bigger events at purple because I always felt like that I'm not just representing me and my academy. I'm representing Professor Snyder and Professor Mora with what I do. So I held off on those big events until I was a brown belt, till I felt like that I could do it. And I could have gone earlier, but that was just me.
Right.
But I guess really to answer your question is, when I started having the most fun with my jiu-jitsu was when I got out of my own way and thinking about what I thought needed to happen. Yeah. Typical blue belt. I make the saying about, you know who the most dangerous person on the planet is? Blue 2 and blue 3.
Oh, God.
Because they know everything already.
Well,
you ain't got to tell them nothing.
I've been there.
And I was there horribly. And, and I didn't want to learn. And I think I'd still be a blue 3 or blue 4 had I not gotten out of my way and just gone, I need to trust the system, trust my coach. And I've done it a lot. Anytime Professor Snyder has told me to do something other than after school, he's wanting me to do after school, I ain't doing it. But anything else that I've had, and, even with this challenge of this new academy, I don't like a lot of change. I'm kind of happy with, let's just kind of sit the way things are.
Yeah.
But I'm 56 years old, and I go, you know what? The next 10 to 15 years, I want to make more of a statement other than just
That's right.
Lindy's had his academy for 20 years.
That's right.
I want to be able to go and, be able to leave something that's a legacy for my kids or for, somebody else. So, but I've had so much fun really since I got my purple belt. Purple belt on is jiu-jitsu has been just a blast and a blessing as far as physically. My, I've changed so much. I went from 285-pound, just big dude to, not as big a guy anymore. And I feel like I'm in better shape, better conditioning.
Yeah, you look good, dude.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate
it. Really good. How much you weighing now?
I was 224 this morning.
Good night, son. No, I remember when you were a little bit bigger, dude. When I first met you, you were fucking huge, dude.
Yeah.
And like now you're a totally different person. I mean, I know you and your wife have kind of went down this big health journey and have really taken, and that was something that I was talking to Steve about. I was like, is there anything I can ask Bobby that you might? He goes, ask him about his health and fitness journey, because he's like super proud of, the steps that you have taken and totally gone like the opposite direction.
Well, and what it started with when we got, when I was always the small kid, and then I became the fat kid during school, and then I became the skinny kid. So I was always kind of this extremes from one side to the other. And then when I got out of, got out of high school, started getting serious about lifting weights, I was going to be a pro wrestler. That was what I was going to do. I had the connections. That was what it was going to be me. Yeah. So I gained a lot of weight. I got really big and heavy. I was 285, but I probably had a 36-inch waist.
How tall are you?
Right at 6 foot now, but I was 6'1", 6'2".
Okay, wow.
And back in the day.
Gotcha.
My bench was right at 400. I never got much over it, but so I was super strong, and I was going to be road warrior or whatever. That was what I was going to do. I had the connections through Jimmy Valiant. As soon as I graduated, that was where I was going to be. Michelle and I got engaged, and then my dad was giving me the option that I can go into the family business. So I could either go and make money, or I could do this and, risk injury and risk. So I just put it to the side. Started teaching professionally, and back then, and probably even still some to an extent now, a lot of those guys, you have the pizza lock-ins for the kids, a lot of drinking, a lot of, you go to the tournaments and you're getting completely tore up and then trying to do something the next day, gaining a lot of weight, a lot of bad habits, and all that weight just started coming on you. And then I started jujitsu again, and I'm going, I'm 285, but look at me, I'm huge. And, it really worked good for if I was picking somebody up and putting somebody down.
All right.
That's okay. But, you want to do a De La Hiva, you want to do a spider guard, you want to invert, you want to get off your back. Yeah. You want to do any of that stuff, you're going to have to start getting into shape.
Yeah.
So my wife was doing the same thing as far as gaining weight. We were, both of us were, she was, I was in the upper twos, she was in the middle twos, and in a fitness business. So, you're kind of selling a bill of sale that really I couldn't, it was hard for me to tell you're going to get fit when I wasn't even fit myself, and I felt like that I was, in a sense, lying to my students by not doing what I know I should do. And I'm still going to the gym. I was still lifting. I was still training every day, and I was making it work. I sparred well. I had enough cardio to be able to handle the rounds that I had to handle. I could pace myself. I could make it work. But jiu-jitsu is a different animal, and it's not only your conditioning, you got the other guy's conditioning who is connected to you at that time. And, you got to start getting a little bit leaner. I can feel now my weight starts getting up, even when my body fat's down and I'm gaining a little bit of muscle. If I'm much over 230, I don't like the feel of it. It just doesn't feel good to me. I can't invert as well. I'm missing a connection with my legs. There's things that I feel like that I'm not doing as well because of that.
Yeah.
So we started cleaning up our diet, and then later we got with Dr. Phil, and then he cleaned up our hormones. Yeah. Which that was a huge, and is on Michelle.
Shout out to Phil.
Oh, dude, man, Dr. Phil, you're the jam, buddy.
Yes, sir.
And Michelle was doing good. Her test got up over 400, so we had to back her down a little bit. She was running like a truck tire. And then I'm 1350, which we joke with Monster Mike, and he's like, dude, you weren't 1350 when you were 18 years old. It's not TRT anymore. So,
right.
So, come on, man. But, just doing that from the standpoint of I don't need to get big. I need to be able to recover, workout to workout.
That's right.
Because I'm on the mat every day. I roll every single day. So if I have a little bit of a time where I catch a little twist and, I put my arm down, maybe catching a post or something, I'm like, oh, man, that hurt. I still got to roll tomorrow.
Right.
So I got to be able to recover. I got to be able to get back into the mat. And then as far as our diet's concerned, we rarely eat pizza. We rarely eat these type of things. We try to keep it to single source, try to keep our ingredients low, try to minimal processing, don't eat much in the way of cheese and things, and just kind of being a closer look at it. And Michelle's a whole lot better at it than I am. She guides my show,
Nice.
Yeah. So
that's
helped a lot.
That's huge, man. And I've taken it pretty seriously probably the last 2 years or so and really got into, the same thing. It's like, it's, part of, I don't know, jiu-jitsu changed you. If you hang around us long enough, you're just kind of inevitable. You know what I mean? And, and that's another thing too, is like, I can't speak for Professor Snyder, but like, he's not going to fucking just promote some fat fuck who's lazy all the time and you just show up. I mean, like, and so I had to take a look at some of the things I was doing, and plus you feel better. Like you just feel better. It's like, I don't have the aches and pains. Well, of course, I'm not doing the strongman game like I was doing in the beginning. Now it's like I can pace myself a little more in rolls and things like that. Like just not doing a bunch of stupid shit that doesn't make a difference. But dieting in general for me has just been a massive game changer. I mean, just getting rid of the seed oils and less sugar and kind of eating more red meat, things like that, grass fed stuff. Eating stuff with organic labels on them and stuff like that. They don't have all the, they're not using certain pesticides and things like that in them. And I think it's like each year I'm getting a little bit better with it. You know what I mean? And then weightlifting too is a big one for jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. You know, just to strengthen up those little dings and things like that. So I don't know about you. Does weightlifting really help you in jiu-jitsu? Or?
For me, I do more lifting I do very lightweight. I don't lift it because I've got some real limitations in my hands, and that's just from the gripping. You know, big grips and move really hard, gripping really hard. You know, so I got calcium in my fingers, my wrist. I got a lot of lack of flexibility with my wrists. So as far as like a bench, I can't hold. I probably right now maybe 200 bench, maybe. And I just because I can't hold it with my wrist, so I do a lot of machine work, and you know, and I do things to like strengthen, like make my joints long. So like when I curl, I make sure that I extend and actually push it and flex it a little bit, kind of like a negative flex. Because I want it long. So you know, when I am getting, I like to not get arm locked a lot, but when my students are working on a technique, you know, I got to be the one like, okay, I'm fully extended here. Yeah, push your hips up a little bit, a little bit more, you know, and then I come away and I'm really sore. It was because I'd been in an arm lock for 15 minutes working with trying to get this technique right. So I find that things like that, as far as strengthening up and making sure that I drink enough water so I'm well hydrated. Because if I come into the academy and I've had a deal where, you know, my urine's like Gatorade, I notice that night when I come home, I'm going to be a lot sore and I'm going to cramp. So getting my water in, make sure I drink enough salt and have the quality calories. And I think that's a big thing too. It was so easy before I was really paying attention to what I was doing. You know, I'd look at my numbers and I go, okay, I need 3,200 calories today. Well, you ate that breakfast. You went to Bojangles. You had chicken biscuit, okay, and a sweet tea. Well, right there, it's almost a third of your day gone. And then do the same for lunch, maybe a little worse for lunch, and then something crazy for dinner, maybe pizza again. And then so you say, well, I'm not recording any of that. That was all garbage. So we'll do better tomorrow. Well, tomorrow wasn't a whole lot better. And then you have a day where maybe you didn't train hard. Maybe it was a day that you weren't in the gym. Maybe you were just at the academy. And, you know, paperwork had you busy, or you're on the telephone or something like that. And then before you know it, you've got a huge calorie surplus and the calories aren't good. You know, it isn't like, you know, if you eat too much steak, you're going to get rid of it. But you eat a lot of the fats, a lot of those oils and junk, that can set you up for failure for the next couple of days. So Michelle and I will go out, we'll go date nights on the weekends and, you know, we'll enjoy it. But during the week, we stay really tight, and then we know, hey, if we're going to eat Mexican on, you know, Friday or Saturday night, then we're going to have to be chill for lunch. We're going to have to be chill for breakfast. We got to make sure everything balances out. And Michelle records everything. You know, really? Man, if she eats 12 chips with dip, man, she puts 12 chips with dip. She records everything. She's done it for years. I haven't recorded anything because I have a pet Michelle with me that keeps track of all my stuff for me.
Well, I ate what you ate, so that's what I'm eating.
So
I got the numbers.
I just need a little bit more of whatever she did, and that's about all we do. She cooks, like, does all of our meal preps for me. She preps hers, she preps mine. We eat the same thing every day. We got that from Monster Mike, you know, those meals.
That stuff,
And if you don't like broccoli, rice, and salmon and chicken, you're on the wrong planet, because that's what you're going to be eating, a lot of it.
Pretty much.
But, you know, he's got me even where your dessert is like with a half a cup of blueberries, and you look so forward to that half a cup of blueberries just for something a little bit sweet. But that's what my week's like. And then the weight just started getting to a spot where, you know, I'm never going to have the waspy waist. You know, I'm never going to be that look. But, you know, we do a lot of thick things. We pick people up with our abs. And we pick ourselves up with our abs. So that's a muscle that builds as well. So, you know, but I'm pretty happy with how I'm feeling. And that's a lot of it, you know, being able to be on the mat and being where you feel good, not getting on the mat and getting stuck, where you're demonstrating a takedown and you're like, dang, do I have to do it again? I did it once. You mean I got to get up and do it again? You got to get up and show it again. They might need to see it again. Of course they do. And you got to get up, you got to do it again. And, you know, you rep that a few times, and then you do that all week because you're doing the same techniques. You know, you got to have it to where you've got the recovery so you can pull that off. Plus you're rolling, you know, you're doing that. And
Right.
and then you get the new guys that come in, and you got to be the guy that's slowing them down and
Right.
showing them where they need where they need to be. And I don't have a lot of dodos, so it makes it pretty easy.
Right.
I don't have to work too hard on that end.
Yeah, you have a bunch of good guys up
Yeah,
there.
there's no need for a mat enforcer. We've taken care of that. When they come in, you kind of weed them out. You have a guy that's just wanting to smash and crush. He ain't gonna be around anyway.
Have you had guys come in and do that? They just come and try to take everyone's lunch money. And you're
Well-
just like, dude, like,
I did have one. I've had a few, but like we had one fella that came from a school in town, and it was all they didn't do any training. They just rolled, which you can learn jujitsu that way, but it's hard. With no instruction, you're just out there going. And he's a white 4, and I figured, well, an upper white belt, he should have a fairly good idea of what's going on. He came in during an open mat, and I said, well, I'd like you to roll with me first. Let's just so you can kind of get a feel. And I'm here thinking mainly so I can get a feel of you. I don't need you to get a feel for me. I want to get a feel for you, whether I'm going to let you roll with
right.
anybody else. So he got with me, and he hit me with an elbow. And it was a pretty decent elbow. And I went, okay. Well, was that because I moved him into me and he lost balance? And then he hit me again. And when you get hit the second time, I told him, I said, hey, man, those first 2 are free. The next one you're going to pay for. I'm going to hit you back.
Right.
My first art was striking. I'd rather not hit you from the ground.
Right.
But I'm not going to let you just hit me with your elbows. And then he said, I felt real bad because he said, well, what am I supposed to do then? He had no clue what to do. And I said, well, let's start with, if it involves any striking at all, don't do it. Pretty good for jujitsu. If you're not hitting anybody, it's a good thing.
Right.
Now, you might hit me with your knee on occasions. You might hit me with your head, your elbow. I mean, you're going to hit with all types of stuff, even when you're not even trying to.
Right.
But if you're trying to hit me with your elbow, no, we need to stop that.
Yeah.
And he was the only one. He rolled with me two more rounds, and I had to set him to the side. I said, you're not a big boy. You're going to sit on the side. So just like the kids class, when somebody's acting up, you just got to sit them to the side. And it turned out to be not a good fit. And he went elsewhere. And I've had more dodos more in our stand up than anything like that. We've had people that come in and
trying to clean clocks.
Yeah,
right
they
away.
hitting
You're
too
like,
hard,
what
and
the
we're like,
fuck are you doing?
And then we're like, hey, I can do that. I just don't want to. I don't want to hit you hard, dude. I want to have fun. Even if I'm getting punched or kicked,
Right.
I want to enjoy it.
Right.
But if we're out here banging, and if you're both in agreement, hey, let's bang, that's fun.
Right.
But if I don't know you real well, and you're banging with me, and I'm going, dang, am I got to stand here and take all this, or am I get to hit you back? And then that's when you're looking at, okay, I'm gonna watch my money go right out that front door. I'm gonna go ahead and hit him and, and get it over with and get it done.
Right. Well, that's kind of but that's why I also like training at our school too, because we don't allow like all this crazy wild bullshit coming in the door. Steve pretty much just stops it.
Yeah.
Nah, man, we don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, it gets a little rowdy, but we don't go that route. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've had guys that I've seen come in and we've had to put them through the mat a couple times.
Oh, sure.
And it's like, and they had to move on. And
and we do it here at our place where we don't like on our open mats, and and I'll catch emails every now and then. Somebody mess me, excuse me. Our open mats are open for our team.
Right.
They're open for Professor Snyder has somebody, Professor Gibson has somebody, Rick Pope. Any of these guys, SMA, any of these guys want to send somebody up. Look, guys, we're going to roll this whole class.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowing people from the outside, and they go, well, why can't you? Because that's how you really test your jujitsu. I go, no, dude, we test our jujitsu in competition.
True.
That's where we compete. That's where I'm going to test. You want to see how my dudes are, look at the IBJJF, find ones that we are in, and sign up.
Yeah.
Don't come in and decide you're just going to roll up on my guys. And there's places in town, and they're good places, but they do a lot of very open type thing where they just allow everybody in. But the liability standpoint of that.
Yeah.
You have a dude, there's some good guys in town that when I see them in open mat pictures, like I've seen this dude for 20 years and he's paid $20 over 20 years for his jiu-jitsu. He never goes to anybody any length of time. He just rolls. He's like a rogue gypsy.
Yeah.
So when he wants to come to my place, nah, dude, come on. You've done your free trial. You did it 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna let you in. But those guys don't have any, any qualms about hurting one of your people. Right. And then when they go, they're gone. Yeah. My student's hurt. Or the other direction. My guy's trying to be really nice, and then it gets somebody upset.
Yeah.
So we just keep it towards the team, and you can still have where you got people they don't know. Well, you were up at my place, and you roll with people that they might not have known you.
Yeah.
And they get to play with you, but hey, that everybody's we're gonna play nice because we're all
that's right.
We're all teammates. We're here to make everybody better.
Right.
And it's
except for Mike and Kenny, they don't play nice.
No.
They're terrible.
They're going to hurt you. And that's okay.
Let them just show a technique on you, and it hurts just showing a technique.
Yeah.
They're freaking massive human
I don't let
beings.
them do that stuff.
Good night, son.
Well, when I was rolling with Mike this last time, and he said, where do you want to be, up or down? I go, you're down.
Right, yeah.
Just too much work.
Just too much human there.
We got a 3-minute round, dude. No, we're going, you start down, I'll start up.
Right. So let me ask you, what? I mean, I guess it's not a requirement, but a suggestion, a heavy suggestion. I definitely believe in competing, and I see people that it's really kind of a pet peeve of mine. And I guess I don't really have like a say so, but I kind of feel like I do now because I am an upper rank. So it's like, when you see something, you say something, or don't tolerate certain things. And one of them is that I see a lot of people, and I've been catching guys talking about it, and I'll be like, don't say that stuff, dude. But it's like guys that will talk about, I don't compete. I don't want to get hurt. I just don't want to compete. I'm not taking a risk. I've got this, that, and the third, and I've got a family, and I just can't. I'm gonna, and what ends up happening, I've noticed. And I haven't been hearing it as much anymore because it's probably getting stopped. But what happens when people say that is then the newer guys pick that up because they don't know. And they're hearing guys that are upper rank saying, I don't compete. It's just not my thing. I don't want to get hurt and all this stuff. And then you start hearing some new guys start saying that stuff. And it's like, dude, you are missing out on growth in jiu-jitsu by not competing, hands down. I don't think it's a hurt thing. In my opinion, I think you're just being a pussy, okay? Being scared. That's just my opinion on it. Because it's fucking hard, and it sucks, and it's scary. It is. Competing is, for me, it is. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak to you, but, that shit scares me. It is so intense. It's so intense for me, I can't sleep 8 weeks out. I'm thinking about it. I'll sit in bed, literally all of a sudden my anxiety comes in, my heart's pounding and shit, and I'm not even there. It's 2 months out. But I've already signed up for it. And so I'm not saying that you need to be competing every 2 months but I also feel like if you're going to go through the ranking system, you need to be able, like you said, you need to be able to pass that information on to somebody else. You can't be in here teaching people how to compete when you have never even competed, or maybe you might have competed at one in-house tournament. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying but it's totally different.
Sure.
Right. I've done a couple of them. It's not the same as going to IBJJS. There's way different pressure. Yeah. And so, I don't know, I guess, what do you think is a requirement, or, I don't know, I guess not a requirement, but, a heavy suggestion, do you believe in, telling people, hey, look, you really need to go at least compete one time, or, what do you feel like is, what's your belief in that area?
What I like, and it's a big difference between, say, an academy owner and a student. So as an academy owner, I was scared to death of the pans. One of the reasons that I wasn't going to the pans has been available the entire time that I've done jiu-jitsu, but why did I wait till I was a brown belt to do it? I wanted to represent well, but that was what I was afraid of, afraid that I wasn't representing well. Same thing with Worlds. First time I'm like, I'm 50 some years old at the time, and I'm competing in the World Championships. Whoa, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And kind of the neat thing too is as long as I've been doing, because I've been doing IBJJF since blue, and it's fun that I know most of the guys. So
right.
I go to see guys, because these guys that are now competing with me in the black belt level, I knew their name at blue. And there's some of these guys I beat at blue and I beat them at purple, but I haven't come close to them since then. And then it's kind of like, dang, man, I beat you. Now you're beating me. So it is kind of fun doing that. And I look at it from the standpoint of the tournament is just where I'm going to go pick up the medal. That's just where I'm finishing stuff out. My getting ready for the tournament is what made me get better in jiu-jitsu. Did I prepare? Did I watch my weight? Did I, my job is to make weight. Did I fire myself because I didn't make weight? Did I do what I was supposed to do? Did I train? So the person that doesn't compete at all, I think that, they can still accomplish things in the same way. You have people that have injuries. You have some that, they might have some neck fusions, some
Absolutely.
stuff that I just feel more comfortable training with people that I can say, hey, I've got this going on and be completely safe. I've had a guy with pacemaker. No, dude, don't you be getting out there and have a friggin' heart attack on the mat. It's tough to have him in the ring, in our own ring, without having a heart attack.
Right.
So, but and it's kind of like what it reflects back to my training. If I had not decided to go on and done that, it's like the answer that Professor Snyder told me. He goes, okay, that's all he told me. Okay, I'm not competing. Okay.
Yeah.
But it would have maybe made it to where maybe 8 months between degrees. It might have been 14 months between degrees. It may have taken a lot longer. And one of the things that I think is so cool about our academy is in this self-gratifying, quick gratifying world that we're in, you got people that are getting their blue belt in 6 months. They're getting their purple belt within a year. Nah, dude, I got mouthpieces that are that old. Yeah. And I've thrown rash guards away that have more training time than some of these people have on their mat at all. So I like that ours is very slow, because when you get promoted in our system, you're going to know that you're ready for it.
That's right.
You're prepared. And I thought it was so cool when I got my brown belt, and Professor Hayworth, when he could be crusty, and he came up to me and he said, "About time." It made me. I'm like, dude, this guy had been advocating for me, and that made me feel so good. It's like, dude,
awesome.
He was patting my back,
That's great,
and
yeah.
no, I wasn't ready yet. Professor Snyder's not going to put me into a spot before I'm ready.
Sure.
And the funny thing, I was telling you yesterday that in a lot of this stuff in my interaction with Professor Snyder, and my dad's around, and of course my dad is my dad. If he's hearing this podcast, I don't want him to get salty, but I look at Professor Snyder as a father figure, even though I'm a bit older than him. And when I got my black belt, I'm kind of admiring it. I'm like, dang, that thing looks kind of cool. I think everybody made a mistake, but it looks kind of cool. And then he walked by me, didn't even stop walking. He said, "Not a retirement belt, Lindy."
Oh, shit.
Yes, sir. Get back on the mat, and
right.
You've enjoyed it a little bit. Now let's get going.
Yeah.
And then he told me about, hey, how's it, what you think about not rank reviewing anymore? And for about 30 seconds, I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. But then you realize you rank review every single time you're on the mat.
Right.
But to go back to the question, I think that it's going to make things easier. And it makes things easier in life because competition's a lot like life. And people say that they're not competitors. Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
If you're working, you're competing. You're competing against other dudes that cut trees. You're competing against other people that sell houses. I'm a realtor as well. There's other people that do numbers. I'm an accountant. There's other people that have martial arts schools. We're all competing. Going to the grocery store, you're competing for the parking spot. So to say you're not a competitor in today's world, I don't believe that.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you could say, okay, I'm going to go do this event. It's going to cost me this much money, and it's 6 months down the road. I'm going to Worlds. Okay, start budgeting your funds so you can be able to go there without, nobody should put their family at a disadvantage to go and do a hobby.
Correct.
But you can plan for it. You can make things work. You can cut back on Starbucks. You can make these things work to do what you got to do. And then you go, okay, for me to become the best Lindy to go to Worlds, what do I have to do? I got to be in the gym. I got to go here. I need to go travel. And then I give a shout out to my guys down, Logan Griffin at Bristol BJJ.
Yeah.
A very heavy competition school. And those dudes are competition direct.
Is that the twin brothers?
The twins, yeah.
Those guys are nasty.
They're under Sam Braga.
Yep.
And Samuel's a super nice guy as well. Shout out to him. And they don't allow a lot of people coming in, but they like me. So
cool.
That's kind of cool. So I can go down there and I see them and, they're going to rough me up. But, I need it because if I get roughed up there by these killers and then I go to Worlds and I'm going against another old man, hey, okay. What can be done that hasn't already been done to me? And, and it kind of makes it to where you look at the competition side and you're like, okay, they have acai there. Oh, dude, they got acai.
Oh, yeah.
I might get me a cool shirt. You kind of like the event kind of becomes secondary because you think of all the fun things that you've done. I've gone to Perry's, Professor Gibson's. And
shout out to Tech MMA. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get them on too after you, not to cut you off.
Oh, yeah. And they're right down the street from me.
Yeah, they're right. How far is that from you?
From my new place, less than 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it's
you're right there.
so easy. But I could go to those killers.
Yeah.
And, and I think about all the fun times that I've had with getting people ready. And then coaching my own people. I have an event coordinator now, Jolene. You met her.
Oh yeah.
And what's cool with her? We were talking about it yesterday.
And she's like a damn thesaurus, dude. She's like bing, 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 bing.
And what's cool with her? She was going to sign up for PANS and hadn't had the 3 classes yet. And I said, whoa. Let's hold us down a little bit. I said, I need you to compete somewhere. You're not going to run into the PANS and you hadn't even, your belt still has creases on it.
Sure.
We're going to, and then she did an open, she did a couple little new breeds and then went down and actually placed at white belt.
That's awesome.
Placed. And then she placed again this last year as a blue belt.
Oh, good.
So it's so cool that I have students that have embraced the competition type lifestyle, and it changes your jiu-jitsu because your jiu-jitsu is different as a competitor versus
100%.
a casual,
100%.
in that fight that, and like things I'm working with her on, you might have the regular student where I'm going, okay, I need you to work this sweep from this position. Try this. Boom, 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 boom. With her, I'm going, I'd like you to take your foot to here before you start that sweep because it's going to put you in a better position. As soon as you land, you're going to be able to go because she needs to have just a little faster move to get to the sweep position than maybe the person that's just casually working on their jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to understand what I'm trying to get out of them. But person that has been in competition knows they got to be just a little quicker.
Right, 100%. So the moral story is that, you subconsciously don't realize how much extra training that you're actually putting in. And that's what's actually gaining your momentum of being better at jiu-jitsu and in life in general. But, it's like, they're like, oh, I wonder why competition gets you better. Well, because you might put an extra cheeseburger down that week. You might drink more water that week. And so you're walking around subconsciously not knowing that you're making these little minor changes, getting more rest at night. You know what I mean? And so for me, I think it just creates an overall better jiu-jitsu fighter, so to speak, but a person too. So it's a pet peeve of mine when I hear people say those kinds of things, because it's like, I asked this question to somebody and I said, who do you think the most important person in jiu-jitsu class is? And they were like, yourself. And I was like, in my opinion, it's the brand new white belt. That's the most important person in that room. Because I can only keep what I have by giving it away. Mm-hmm. So going into competitions and stuff like that, if I want to be able to teach somebody who's a white belt who comes in and says, and usually they don't want to compete right away. Jolene might be an exception, but how am I going to teach them how to compete if I've never competed? Right. I show people moves and I say, oh, well, this is what I like to do when this happens to me. But has that actually happened to you? Or are you just repeating what somebody else said who actually has competed? You know what I mean? So you're borrowing somebody else's experience that you've never even done before. So it's like, to me, as far as competing, it's like, just get out there and at least do it one time for yourself, especially if you're starting to become an upper rank, your brown belt, you might be looking at getting a black belt and you've never competed at all. Like, you need to do it, man. I mean, I don't think that has anything, I don't really know how like the promotions works and when Snyder's going to say, oh, you deserve this or whatever, but I mean, you can definitely tell when guys are really getting advanced and they start promoting and things like that is like when they step up their competition, their jiu-jitsu is getting better. You know what I mean? So I guess for me, it's like, if you're around me and you're going to say, I don't compete because I don't want to, dude, you could walk out here and trip on a rock and fall and bust your knee and you're out for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? If you're preparing to go and compete, you're going to be a lot more fit, a lot more aware of your surroundings. You're going to be better at jiu-jitsu. So your chances, in my opinion, will probably go down in getting hurt because you've created this, you've gotten better. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying you can get hurt. Jiu-jitsu is, at the end of the day, still pretty, dangerous. Things can happen. People get hurt all the time. Well, I wouldn't say all the time. I would say that there's still a high risk of, that's why we don't do a ton of leg stuff all the time and stuff, because it's like, why are we going to have a guy heel hooking at white belt? Like, he could rip someone's freaking ACL out, and so.
Well, and I think, and I've told my guys this too, is like, if you come in here and you win worlds, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be promoted.
Right.
Just because you made worlds. Now, the preparation time that you did to get you to position to go to worlds, I don't care what you did at worlds. Maybe one of the, I tell you, it's the getting ready for jiu-jitsu part that's going to help you out the most. And I'll tell you, my best promotion that I ever had in my entire time of jiu-jitsu, other than the 2 times that I was promoted to 4th degree on a belt, and I think you were around for some of those. It was a joke, but I had was my promotion to Purple 3. I had my hip was in really bad shape. I was having a hard time just walking, and every time I was around Professor Snyder, he would laugh at me. He's like, "When you getting that surgery? When you getting this?" And I knew I needed to do it. He had the doctor. He'd already done 2 of his, and there'd been plenty of people. Grandmaster Dring, he'd had his done. Lots of people have had this same surgery. I'm like, yeah, I need this, but I didn't do it, and I was in so much pain, was hurting. And when I decided to go ahead and get it done, I took Professor Snyder's advice. He said, when he asks you if you have any questions, he said, the only thing you need to ask is when. That's what I did. Dr. Gross said, you're a candidate. Any questions? I went, when. That was it. I didn't ask nothing else. And but then Professor Snyder said, you need to get into the best shape of your life between now and then, because it's going to make your recovery better.
Right.
So I did that. It was my first time of losing some more weight. I was on the mat a lot to try to get as much, and I didn't even do rank review. I had I was getting ready to have my surgery. I got called up early, and they told me, you can't even get a bruise. If you get a bruise right now, we're not going to let you go.
Why
because
is that?
Because I think it's because of a blood thin. When they're opening up your hip, they want to make sure I didn't have any type of infections or any other injuries going on. So I had to be pretty clean, and it was right out of rank review time. I went down, I watched the rank review, and then he called me up, and I got promoted. But he had seen the work that I'd put in from that last little bit of time before I had to go have my surgery, and then I was out for competition for a year before I was able to come back. But I wasn't out that long on jiu-jitsu. I was only out probably 3 or 4 months. Okay. Until I was up and going.
I think I remember that. You were like, when I started, I think you were a 4-stripe blue belt.
Okay.
And I think that's
sounds about right.
Somewhere in late 2018 or something like that. Yep. And yeah, I think I remember when you had that surgery. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, best thing I've ever done.
Really feel a lot
for
better
myself. Yeah. And the neat thing was,
you think that was from training jiu-jitsu, or probably a lot of the kicking?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. My guy asked me. My surgeon said, "You ever thought about kicking with your left leg at all?" And I was like, "No, sir." Yeah. Well, I do, but mainly with my right leg, because I've been doing this stuff since I was 8.
Yeah,
That's a lot of.
It's a lot of wear and tear.
A lot of wear and tear.
Yeah.
And my jiu-jitsu had kind of developed to the spot where I played a lot of half guard, and I put that side down. So it was actually I'm right-handed, but I played the left-handed half guard because I had to protect my hip. Then we started getting to this spot where my hip was okay, and I was still rocking that old game. And Professor Snyder told me, he goes, "Okay, here's the deal. No more half guard for you." He said, you got a B-level half guard, but the rest of your guards are garbage. And so you can
said
imagine
it just like that.
just garbage, total trash. So I had to start working these other guards, and then I got my brown belt, and I was going to do my first private lesson with Bruno Bastos, who is a half guard wizard.
Oh yeah.
And I asked Professor Snyder, I was like, well, what do I can't do half guard anymore. What do I start doing? And he goes, congratulations, you can do your half guard now.
Oh shit.
Which I don't know whether he forgot that he took me off a half guard, or maybe it just worked out. But it's nice now when I kind of do get into half guard. It's still kind of my friendly home space but my other guards, I feel pretty good with. But I get into half, I go, we can settle here. We're good.
That's hilarious. Jesus. Especially with that freaking massive human being.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. It's monster.
That
it's
is
bad.
Yeah. It was kind of fun watching him. I can't remember what we were doing we were down there in Tampa for the camp, but he was showing, I think it was like maybe it was like a spider guard thing. We were talking, I think we were doing some passing or something, and he goes to that position. I'm like, how the hell is he doing it that size?
Still does it.
But he knows how to like move with his body to be able to do it. It's just so high level. Did you go down to the ECBJJ one?
I did.
You
Yeah,
did?
yeah.
Shout out to those guys.
Oh,
Heath
yeah.
Chapman. That's a good time. I wasn't able to make it, but
And he made some comments to where he says, hey, I've been doing this for 35 years, so I should be able to do it.
Ooh.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool way of mentioning that you kind of learn how to be able to get into positions. Well, like I invert. It's not something I like to do.
Yeah.
And it used to be the only way I inverted was if somebody inverted me. Now, I could do that if I had to, if I had to get into position. But the ultra heavy game, there ain't a whole lot of that going on.
Right.
But,
right.
But little baby bolos and things like that.
Yeah.
I feel okay enough to.
Nice. Have you rolled with Hobson before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
It's not
Not
good.
good?
No, it's not good. I know. It was funny when I first got my black belt. We're coming down to Tampa's camp.
Okay.
And Snyder told me, Professor Snyder said, okay, as a new black belt, everybody here is going to be watching you. I didn't even want to go to camp. I was scared to death, because I don't want to look like an idiot. He said, here's what you do, Lindy. He said, I want you to go down there, and it was all going to be pass guard sweep. He said, I want you to roar through the first 5 black belts that you see, and then let the first white belt pass your guard. Like, okay, yes, sir, I'll do it. So I get down there, and first person I come up to, I had Professor Snyder and Professor Dantes. We're sitting beside each other, and they're watching me. I mean, as close as you and me. I grabbed a hold of this guy, and I'm like, I'm going to pass this guard. Here we go. I started to go, and the next thing you know, I'm on my head on the other side of the mat. Guess who I picked as my first person?
Huh.
Professor Moore.
Jesus.
So Professor Moore was my first person that I tried to play pass guard sweep with. Now, the nice thing is the whole rest of things that I had to do, nobody worried about it anymore. And it took a load off of me. I realized that the whole place isn't watching you, Lindy. They're watching Hobson destroy you.
Right.
And I thought, it's funny, he had a like a shin guard on my sleeve. And I'm thinking, hey, all I have to do is clear this. I was already around him. All I had to do was clear his knee.
Shit.
And he swept me from there. I don't even know how he swept me. I was just gone.
It was just over there
I
somewhere.
was just gone. And then we sat up, we slap bumped, and he was already watching for the next guy.
Oh,
I'm like,
shit.
All right, Lindy, you're done.
Wow.
Nothing else for you to do here.
I have not rolled with him yet. So I rolled with Mateus. We were doing that pass guard sweep at camp, and
That's about as bad.
I had, I was like, I got in, I think I passed into half guard, kind of chilled for a minute. I was like, all right, I'm cool. Like controlled the hips. He was on my back.
That's it.
That's like, you just did like this like octopus thing and like went to my back, and then he swept me, and I was like, okay, fuck, this is stupid. Tried it again. I went up and over his head, and that was it. I was like, those guys train so much, dude.
Oh,
Like 2 times a day, 6 days a week. Mateus is all over the country competing, and it's like, dude, that's how you get. I mean, it's like, I just, it's so fascinating to me, like how good you can get. Like it's crazy, And I mean, obviously, in a sad way, I'll never get as good as Hobson in my lifetime, period, end of story. And I'm okay with that. But it's like, it's crazy to see how many hours these guys put into it. I mean, this is their everything.
And, that's the neat thing about it that I think is so cool with jiu-jitsu is, you may not ever be Hobson, but you're going to be the best Sean that you can be.
Sure.
What are you going to look like in, another 6-7 years?
Yeah.
What am I going to look like? I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird that, I got my professor bars and I got my first degree. I was like, this is weird. It feels like I just got this,
Right.
and, has my game, Professor Snyder was telling me as I was coming up through the belts, I would ask him, because I'd kind of gotten over my saltiness back half of blue belt. So I got my purple belt and I asked him, Professor, what is purple belt Lindy going to look like? And he told me, I mean, it's pretty close. He goes, oh, you should be able to do this, this, and this. It wasn't like a checklist, but he was, in general, this is what an ultra heavy purple belt should be about at. And I got my brown belt. So I asked him the same question. What's brown belt Bobby going to look like? Oh, well, at this point, you should be able to do this. You should be able to do this. You should be able to do this. It was very detailed on where I should be, which kind of gave me a roadmap. I'm going, oh, cool. That's going to be exciting. I got my black belt. And I asked him, so what's black belt Bobby going to look like? And he goes, excuse my expression. He said, fuck if I know. He's like, he said, you ever seen a fat black belt? I was like, yes, sir. He goes, they didn't start that way.
Right.
So, so what I've started doing is really focusing on a detail. Like, okay, let's see if I can clean this sweep up. I'm going to work on this one. I'm going to work on this and just try to get, to be better, to I don't really know where I'm heading, right, but I'm going to get better at wherever I'm doing, and I joke with people about rank, kind of like, especially at my academy, I'm the high rank. And then, getting the blue belt, it's like we were chopping our way through the forest. It's like I was telling you earlier, when all we knew at white belt was how to hip escape. We were in the dense woods with kudzu. I mean, we couldn't even see. We knew that there was a blue belt opening somewhere in the woods, but we don't even know whether we're going the right way. I found the opening in the path. Hey guys, look, there's blue belt up here. Come on. And that path started getting a little wider and a little wider and a little wider. So then it got to where, you had dirt road to blue belt. Like, oh wow, man, it's easy. We get on that dirt road, go 2 miles up, we're going to hit the clearing. That clearing is blue. Yeah. Well, now, you get looking where there's a little bit more of a clearing to purple. Now I've got some guys that are kind of, the path to brown. I've carved it, and I got 4 purple belts. So they're chomping their way through the woods. Yep. But look all the way back there from white to blue. Man, it's paved highway now. Yeah. They can get right on the road. They can just go. I mean, it's not like, Professor Snyder, he's got interstate, right. So, right. You know exactly where you need to be. Yeah. And his interstate runs several levels deep. Yeah. Just due to that experience. Right. But that's what I think is exciting is getting these people to the different spots. And like I had, it was pretty cool where back with Jolene, she had one of the Tech MMA guys talking with her and said, you roll like Lindy. So it was kind of cool when you have you have a 135, 140 pound female that other people can see my influence. They roll, you roll like him. That's great. And, whether her game would be better if she didn't roll like me, I don't know. Right. But it's cool that, like, okay, I know where you got it. Yeah. And like when people do things, I used to guard pull backwards because of my hip. And people go, man, you guard pull weird. Well, I pull weird because I had to protect a hip. Oh, yeah. And, but I needed to get into a position where I could sweep well. Right. So I didn't want to pull and then have to either sweep you left-handed or have to switch my grips. Yeah. So I'd start off with a screwy grip. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I know when I go down, there's a really good chance you're going to chunk my leg. Yeah. But things work out good, I'm going to be in a great spot to do my sweep. So then they start copying me. Right. So I have to tell them, hey, look, I know where you're getting at, but be careful. It's not saying you can't do it, but you got to tread lightly sometimes with spots.
Well, it seems like that's, we pick up a lot of stuff from, obviously Professor Snyder. I mean, we follow kind of the way his pathway is in his game. We all kind of have similar games in a way. So it's interesting to go, you know, to another academy. I mean, even though we're in the same lineage, and watch other people, you know, or roll with someone else, and their game is a little bit different than what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like maybe throw an underhook and guard, or maybe they're playing open guard instead of closed guard, and you know, maybe immediately just shooting into half guard because they like to get out. You know, they like to work from there or something like that. So it's crazy to see. I mean, I've been across the country, and I really try to hit other gyms when I'm out of town on vacations or whatever. I just message them, and usually they're cool about that, as long as they know you're kind of legit and come from another school. So I'm always looking to, you know, to find another gym to train at, and I think I've picked a lot of stuff up too from other schools, because I think that like it is important that you listen. You know, because when you listen to the same person over and over and over and over again, you can kind of like almost not listen to them, because it's like, you know, we were talking about this here recently. It's like, you know, Billy might show me something and I'm just not paying attention. And then I'll turn around and I'll be with, you know, Hayworth or Curcio or something. And then they're showing me the same thing he's showing me. And then I'm just getting it. It's just somehow, for some reason, our brains just don't operate on that like level where it's, I mean, at least mine is, you know what I mean? Like you might be showing something and it's like, oh, okay. Well, Steve is like, oh, I showed you that like 2 months ago. What do you mean? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like sometimes that's just kind of how humans' brains operate. You need to have, you know, multiple people showing you stuff. Like it could be the same thing. Your brain doesn't, you know, like if you're in the store and, you know, you hear a little kid behind you, might be like 12 years old, shout out something, and then you're like, that made sense. Yeah. Well, you've probably heard it 50 times. It just registered at that moment.
That's where it hit. Well, and a perfect example of that, I had, I just got my black belt, and Professor Snyder was going to be out of town. He wanted to know if I could come in and teach a noon class. You might have even been there. And it was my first, I mean, I'd already been teaching at my academy, but something about going back, quote unquote, home and teaching, I was like super nervous. And I don't usually get nervous, right? But I was really nervous, and I thought, all right, just keep it basic. Let's just teach an Americana. We'll just do a sweep. We'll get to here. We're going to go Americana. Off we go. Well, I had picked up somewhere along the line. Actually, it was from a shout out to Mean Gene Silas, who's the Tom DeBlass black belt we were talking about a little bit ago. Yeah. And he showed me about a motorcycle grip, just on the Americana. No big deal. Little detail. I was teaching, and then I taught that spot. And then all of a sudden I started seeing eyes start lighting up. And I went, uh-oh, that's not good. and then they said, wow, that's a game changer. I went, what are you talking about? It's an Americana. You know, you've been taught this a gazillion times, but I forgot that I had that extra little detail that I had picked up. And so I had to kind of put it in reverse a little bit. And I said, hey, guys, look, here's the thing. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's a right way or a wrong way to do this thing, you know, and please do the things the way Professor Snyder's telling you to do it. Right. Now, this is just a little different flavor that I picked up somewhere along the line, and it works well with my hands because I've got some limitations, so I can grip there and I can put a little bit more pressure without having to put the pressure on my wrist, you know, where you take the hand through. Sure. It avoids that for me. So I found it as being helpful, but that doesn't necessarily mean my way is the right way. It's not necessarily the wrong way. That's just the way. And it's kind of like when I was coming up through things and I would get, Professor Hayworth would choke me with something. And I'd say, Sling Blade, could you show me that choke? And he goes, no, and walks away. And I thought, well, dang, that was kind of weird. I mean, I was asking, you know, could you show me the choke? But then you realize later, and I know you've been in positions like this too, you choked the guy, but it wasn't a technical choke. Right. All you did was close off both carotids. Yeah. This arm went here, that arm went there. You made it work. I don't know how you did it. Yeah, a lot of stuff's like that. It's like I just laid on your neck, dude, and you tapped. That's how it happened. Yeah, because I can't replicate it. No, because you find kind of little things that you feel like really does truly fit you. I mean, like, you know, who was it that we were doing guillotines yesterday, and I was like basically telling this guy, like, you know, you really need to be, you know, you need to be kind of parallel with him. Like, you know, if he's in
he passes your guard and you passes your guard and you're on bottom and you have a guillotine over his head, like you're probably not going to choke him from there. Like it's just not a good place for you to be trying to get. Just like in UFC, you see guys like have a guillotine up against the cage or something like that. Like you're not going to get that.
Right.
But when you get guys like Monster Mike who have massive arms, okay, and you're in that situation, he can just flex his bicep and pretty much choke you from right there.
Yeah.
So it's like it definitely does fit for everybody. You mentioned Tom DeBoss. I love watching his stuff. I love watching his videos, and he actually posted something yesterday. Shout out to Tom DeBoss for posting the tragic loss of the Biffle family. They just recently had a really horrible plane accident.
And you were close with them, right?
I was not. No, I don't know them. I have some friends that were.
Okay.
That has done like work. My T-shirt guy knew him. Actually, he was telling me they were actually going to be printing hats for him today. So we kind of had chatted and stuff like that, and it was just a super horrible thing. But Tom had posted a video of him and his family, and as I'm watching this video, I'm like. And I love what the message that Tom is constantly talking about. He's always talking about like, guys that think they're like tough guys and things like that. And it's like, he goes and he's like always says like, are you, if you think you're, if what I would consider a tough guy is more of the humble, godly type of guy. Like to me that's a badass. And he's right. And he was so I like posted a comment on there that like. Guys like, Greg Biffle is who I'm trying to be like. Here's a guy who goes in and, basically during the whole hurricane thing, donates his own money, his own time. He's literally flying his own helicopter in to rescue people during that horrible situation that basically happened all up South Carolina into, Western North Carolina. Like it just got tore up Western North Carolina. It's got completely devoured. And here's a guy who's like basically just taking his own money, his own time and going in. And I made the comment that like this guy, one dude made more of an impact than probably the entire state government did, during that entire time. Like,
and he didn't have to get involved.
No,
that's the neat thing. He could have stayed at his house and watched it on TV like the rest of us.
Like, and then I was watching this one thing and it said something about like, I'm trying to think what he said. Like, God damn, I should have saved that video. But essentially it was like when you are actually like excited about doing something good for somebody else and it feels good, feels great. When you give someone a raise or you give someone a bonus or you do something out of kindness, you're not doing it for anything, other than just being a fucking cool dude, and it's like, that's what I'm trying to do. And, being involved in jujitsu is a part of life for me that I really feel like now where I'm having a shit ton of fun in my jujitsu, it's like now I'm able to give back what I know to this new white belt, and it's like, it's really sad, man. It's like this entire family just boom, you never know when life's going to go. And, I just love that kind of message. That type of jujitsu to me is like what I possess and what I want to be better at. It's not necessarily being great at jujitsu, but like, can I help change somebody else's life? Can I give what I have, what I've been taught by you and Steve and all these, Professor Mora, and like, can I pass this on to somebody else? Because, we all kind of come from broken shit. A lot of us, we all have fucking problems. We all have come from problems, and it's like completely changed our life, man. This has changed my life. This is my church. This is my Sunday Baptist church. That is my jujitsu. This is where I go and I get fed, I guess you would say maybe spiritually, so like 20% of it is learning to get badass at jujitsu. The other 80% is everything that I live outside of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that when I first came in.
Well, and that's the thing to me that when I was in corporate America, I mean, we're all in corporate America, even if you're in a martial arts school, you're still doing it. But when I was working a 9 to 5, I was the president of the trucking company, 85 employees all over the country. Over $5 million a year business. It was a lot. but there wasn't a whole lot of enrichment. So outside of work, that would be when I'd go to the gym, but you can kind of, okay. And I'd go take karate classes. Yeah, okay. But it wasn't to the level of when I started to become a school owner. Then you're like, okay, you get the kid that's coming in from, and we had one where the little boy, his dad committed suicide. And the mom, they were bringing him over to me for discipline. And come to find out that the little boy looked just like the dad. And the mom couldn't discipline him. She goes, every time I start to do anything, he knows the look and makes me cry, and he wins. And he's working it. So then I started setting up a striping system for that kid alone on stuff that he does at home. So he would come to me, and I would ask Mom, say, hey, how did Johnny do? Well, we had some challenges at the beginning of the week, but he did okay on the back end of the week. And I was thinking, well, okay, well, what do you think? So I want to empower her. I don't want it to where she needs me to do it, but to kind of take a little bit of the load off of what else she was doing. She was basically outsourcing her discipline to a certain extent to me. And I'm setting up systems that she could replicate at home. And then, the kid started listening to Mom and started doing stuff. He was doing stuff to get the red stripe when he comes and sees me. But we were setting this thing up, and then you realize, wow, I did a good thing for that kid. And then you have, people that have had fitness challenges, and we've had losses where they've gone into jujitsu, and they're like, dude, this is just what I'm going to do. Health struggles. And really being able to change lives. I feel like that I have done more for humanity in the last 20 years of being an academy owner than I did in the prior years where I was just as a student, just taking classes and going and doing my thing and kicking and punching.
Yeah. I just feel like that's what kind of my mission is moving forward now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of plays out in my entire life now, you know what I mean? Where I'm actually like genuinely excited for somebody else to start achieving things, like I don't want to, for me, it's like, I don't want to go this in 2026, not achieving something, you know what I mean? For myself, like I want to go and get after it and achieve something because I know like what that does for me. And it's like, now that I know what it does for me and I see somebody else that's, get like when the boys came up and did the rank review up at your school and they just got murdered.
Black belts.
I mean, just murdered them
for blue belt.
Crazy. And they all both received their blue belts. I've been training with those guys for a couple of years now. Dude, that was heartfelt to me. You know what I mean?
Have you seen them back? Have they made it back to class yet?
I think I saw Chris the other day.
That was a
I
punishing
can't remember if I've seen him yet, but I'm just saying, like,
they work so hard.
Yeah, I mean, and I went through the same shit, dude. Like, I got destroyed when I got my blue belt. Like, these guys fucking wrecked me for an hour, bro. I could barely walk, breathe. Like, it was horrible, but it was like a beautiful horrible. It's like, man, if I can do that and I go out here and I'm running a business and I get my ass kicked, shit's breaking down, things aren't going right, the homeowner's pissed off, you know what I mean? Like, I can get through that, you know what I mean? That's easy to me compared to going in there and getting smashed by black belts. And so, I don't know, man, it's just, my view is changing now in jiu-jitsu, and I'm sure you obviously went through the same shit,
When I was testing for my black belt, and, you just have these little snapshots that you remember, and you go, okay, that is going to be a core memory. I'm going to remember this. And, everybody helps you along the line with different people. And, Professor Hayworth, man, I love him. And as crusty as he could be, when I first started, he would say things to me that and Snyder would always laugh. He would say, he say that? And I go, yeah, he said that. He said, man, I thought you sucked. And then I saw your students. Like, well, that was a good one. And, just a lot of that type of crustiness. And, hey, when you going to quit letting me hit you with that takedown? And I go, well, probably when you get tired of throwing it on me, I guess, because you keep hitting with me. But when I was testing for black, he was my partner for takedowns. I'm going, oh, this is going to suck. And I started hitting different takedowns. I'm going to hit them. Bam, bam, bam. And he's getting up, and he's going, fuck yeah, hit it again. Do it. Hit it again. And he was encouraging me to, yeah, man, you're getting it. This is the way you need to go. And it, that confidence in the moment, I started feeling more confident about it. Bam, bam, bam. And you would think, dang it, when you're going for your black belt, you shouldn't be having to gain the confidence then. But he was always one that I had a hard time with. And to be able to start having some success with him was, I felt like, man, I'm doing good. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's little wins like that are just, that's huge. What's your take on, I always ask this to everybody who comes on who's in jiu-jitsu, does martial arts, but what is your take on kids jiu-jitsu? When do you think they should start? And kind of walk me through maybe a little bit of like your kids program that you guys have offer up there.
What I have with my guys, I actually have a preschool. Now this is my entire program. So it's not just jiu-jitsu. I teach stand-up kickboxing as well. Traditional taekwondo with those guys. So the youngest group I have is my 3 and 4 year olds. It's preschoolers. It's mainly crisscross applesauce. Get up and let's move. Let's try to be good citizens. Don't wipe boogers on the mat. Just a lot of little stuff like that. Getting them moving. We have a lot of play. It's a 95% play, but they're getting used to a discipline structure because I don't know how much discipline they've had at home at that time. So you get a 3-year-old, he could be a little terror. You've had little ones.
I've got one.
So you know how they can be.
Yeah.
But then when they get to about 5, that's when they enter into my traditional stand-up program. Now with that one, we still play games. We still, it's a lot of work, but you can have a kid that's a little on the edge and you could say, okay, you need to go have a seat. You need to go sit down over there for just a little bit. But when they go to jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu is a different animal, and I don't want it to be tickle time. Too many times when you get, you got a jiu-jitsu class and you got 3 and 4 year olds in there, it's tickle time. They're rolling around and they're not, I don't feel like that I'm going to be giving you value. They're going to gain more from the stand-up side, punching and kicking and moving their body, listening to me, paying attention, moving quickly and listening. Now, when they get to about 6-year-old, I can show them spider guard. Now, are they going to be awesome at it? No. But it's more body control. They're learning how to move. Now, they get a little older. They get to their 9s and 10s. Man, a 9 or 10-year-old, I can have them doing anything I have the adults do. We just got to be, and actually I teach the same program to my kids that I do to my adults. It just takes a little while to get through it, where maybe we may do a De La Hiva sequence for adults, and I'm pretty much done by the end of the week. We'll work on to a next transition the next week, but maybe the kids, we got an entrance done. So maybe next week we're going to have to keep working on this a little bit.
So I have a 9-year-old. I show up to your school. You offer 2 programs. You offer taekwondo, kickboxing. You offer jiu-jitsu. I don't know which one to pick. What would you suggest?
I would say try them both.
Okay.
And I say, I want the kid at this point, I want where he's happy.
Okay.
And I'll get a new kid that'll come in and I could tell the kid's scared to death. He comes in and I'll ask him, hey, what led you to jiu-jitsu? And I'll have a parent say, he loves watching the UFC. I'm here going, I can see in the kid's eyes, he's scared to death because he thinks, the dad thinks the UFC is going to be great and fun, and, grounding and pounding and punching. But the kid's going, I don't want no part of this. And I asked the kid, I was like, hey, sometimes you get some wild ones. And I say, hey, do you, would it be okay if you were laying on somebody's face? And they kind of give that look like, yeah, I'll dig that. And I go, how about when it's the other way? Would you like somebody laying on your face? Because you're going to have a lot of that. There's going to be a whole lot more of them laying on your face than you laying on their face. Now, how about punching and kicking? Do you like to punch and kick? You don't kick walls at home, do you? No? Good. Okay, because I'm going to give you things that you can punch and kick today. Now, we're also going to learn how to choke, and we're going to do both. And then at the end of class, I'm going to ask you, or at the end of today, I'm going to say, which class did you like best and why? And they'll say, well, I really like the stand-up because I was able to hit something. I go, okay, cool. Well, did you like the other one too? And they said, well, the gi was sweaty. Oh, okay. Well, the gis are sweaty. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Well, what if you tried them both later? Again, would you like to come back and try again? Yeah. Which one would you like to try? You want to try both of them again? Well, sure. Okay, Dad, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you the full schedule tonight. I'm going to send you a link to continue. He can try for another week. Make sure it's something he's wanting to do. I'm very low pressure. I don't do long-term contracts. I want you happy, and I'm going to be happy. I've had people who've been in with me for years. but I want the kid where he wants to be, and that's the key of it.
So you kind of you're giving him more of an option of choice. It's like, I'd rather prefer this versus this, but suggesting like, I guess letting them kind of pick what they feel like that's where the route they go, rather than trying to influence them in a way of like, I think your kid needs to be in kickboxing versus like, I think your kid needs to be in jujitsu, because they both still possess, a lot of the very same attributes of discipline and hard work and, being a teammate and a partner and things like that. So I like that answer, actually, because I'm obviously jujitsu heavy, like my son's going to be a blue belt by 15.
Sure.
It is what it is in my household. Yep, I'm going to be one of the Dagestani dads. We train in this house.
That's what you got.
It is what it is. Him being a 6 years old, I'm not pressuring him right now. He's just, we got mats at the house. We roll all the time here. We're just having fun,
Right.
But at some point, he's going to go into some type of
structure.
He's done the kickboxing, the martial arts thing a couple times. I just don't think he was ready yet. He wasn't, obviously I don't want to send Easton at 4.5 where he's just not listening at all. And Maria's like, yeah, I took care of him, but I don't know yet.
Maybe not.
Right. So it's like, we'll come back to it, so there's no pressure, I think. And kids, man, they're going to obviously, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They see dad training all the time. They see dad weightlifting all the time. They see dad doing jujitsu all the time. Most of the time they're going to follow that path, especially having a father figure in the household, I mean, Easton, you saw him, he was up there rolling with me
Right.
and stuff like that. He wants to be on the mats with dad doing what I'm doing and rolling. He's not ready to be, fully, but I just let him play, and Vitor Shaolin told me that. He goes, because I asked him one time, I said, what do you think, and he goes, just bring him around. Don't
Let him play.
just let him play. Just let him play. Let him see you doing it. So when he goes to the tournaments, when I was in Tap Out Cancer a couple months ago and competed, I could hear him once I finally snapped out of it, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I'm rolling now." He's like, I could hear him go, "Kill him!
Oh, nice.
Kill him!" And Taylor's like, "Shh!" And apparently, the guy that I was competing, his wife standing next to,
Oh,
and
man.
I happened to be
Killing him.
killing him. But the wife is sitting next to Easton, and Taylor's like, stop saying that, because she's just not into the martial arts stuff like I am. She totally supports it, but it's just kind of funny, like, for him to be there and see that and witness it. It's like, God, I hope I'm really planting that seed, and then later on down the road, we'll start, really watering it and things like that. So I like that answer because it's like, I respect all of them equally. Obviously I prefer one more than the other because that's what I do. But, I think that, if your kid is, in my perspective, if you're a parent like myself, like I want my kid in a martial art, period, end of story. I want them in a martial art. I understand football, I understand basketball, I understand baseball, and all those are really fun. And I think, I call my son an athlete. I don't call him anything but an athlete because I want him to be able to play or do whatever, right? As long as he's doing some type of, sport or activity.
Got to do something.
But I think as far as like the discipline aspect that comes behind martial arts is like next to none. I mean, like, dude, it is absolutely next to none. So, if you're a parent, you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do with your kid and you're in the Roanoke area, man, sign them up over there at Lindamood's Martial Arts, because I'm telling you, in my personal experience, it is the best, hands down. I've played all sports across the board, name it. I've done it. Besides ping pong, I don't think I ever got into ping pong, but sign them up, man. I guarantee you're not going to miss out. I mean, and you could attest to that. Not even being a sales guy, just like what it's done for your life, man, is incredible. And then you see guys like Gustavo Dantas and Bruno who bring in Cassie Moore. They have these programs over in Brazil that they, get these kids that are kind of not coming from the best of homes, and they give them a new opportunity. And look what happened to people. Now that's a one of one. Cassie Moore is like a one of one. There's no guarantees you're going to make it to that level.
But she was found.
In that environment. And look at what she's doing now, traveling all over the world, signed by UFC BJJ, just phenomenal athlete, and that's a testament to, the guys that she's training under, like Bruno and stuff. But
Well, one thing that I always kind of look at, you have students that come and go. And, I've had my academy for 20 years. You kind of even know the look. You know the look when somebody's getting ready to quit. You know the look when they're going to start.
You?
Oh, you see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And,
I don't look at that. So
and it just happens, and it happens.
Okay.
That's just life. Kids, change, and, you have, and I have a very low attrition rate. So I don't turn people over a lot. People come to me, they stay with me. But one of my compliments that I guess I get sometimes, and it's actually kind of cool. You have a little boy, little Johnny, let's say. He's never done anything. All he does is play on his tablet. That's it. He does tablet stuff, and he plays and watches TV, and that's it, but doesn't do anything. He gets into karate. Next thing you know, he's been with me for a couple of years, and he wants to try baseball. And so to me, that's exciting that, yes, I'm going to lose little Johnny while he's off playing baseball, but I gave him the confidence that he can come out and do this. Dude, you can play baseball too. And then baseball season's over because they were working to death. They're there every night, and they go, we just can't make it. We have that. I never lose people to other martial arts places. I lose people to soccer and baseball and stuff.
Yeah.
But, when the season's over, we're coming right back. Or they're wrestling, and they're coming right back. And I'm like, that's exciting to me, because then when kid comes back, I'm going to say, hey, how was your baseball? Oh, it was really good. Tell me about it. Tell me what you did. How was your season like? Did you get any hits? How'd it go?
Yeah.
Because I want to be as invested in him as their parents are invested in me.
Yeah.
That, and like my son, started off martial arts. We had no kidding, because I'm bringing his ass to class. He doesn't have any option. He's going with me.
Yeah.
Started when he was 4 as a little dragon, they called him then. And then he's 31 years old now, and a 5th degree black belt in Taekwondo and purple belt in BJJ. But he's also done semi-pro hockey. So, and a lot of this was due to him, his enthusiasm and his aggressiveness, that he was like, oh yeah, I can do hockey, I can hit,
Yeah.
And he did the whole, in Roanoke, they have the Guns and Hoses game, where they have the police against the firefighters.
Oh, cool.
And he was he's with the police officers. So he was playing on the police side, and it's kind of funny that they were trying to clean hockey up, where they were going to the booster league actually the organization was going to give fines to the firefighters if they fought. They were going to get fined, and they were going to lose like a week of pay, because they wanted, all right, dudes, we're here to play hockey. We're not here to fight everybody. Well, the police officers, they're the bad guys anyway. They said, here's the deal. The boosters are going to pay the fines. Go for it. Start fights. So you had the firefighters just trying to be cool and chill.
Yeah.
And the officers are out there just bumping and thumping.
Yeah, I guarantee you
just
that.
getting it going.
Yeah.
And Taylor's like, I loved it.
That's hilarious.
Just aggravating these guys to get them to swing.
Oh my God. That's hockey though.
That's hocky.
Hockey's fucking intense.
Yeah, but he and Taylor's one of my he drives me crazy more than anybody else, because he's a high-end competitor, and he'll aim for an event, and he'll overtrain. He'll give 130% to go do, the Atlanta Open. I'm like, dude, it's the Atlanta Open. It's not.
Right.
It's not Worlds. It's not Pans.
Yeah.
It's the Atlanta Open, dude.
Right.
You've got 3 in your division.
Yeah,
What
right.
are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's running 10 miles to the gym, training, and then running his ass back home. I'm like, I'll drive you back home. Come on, dude. But then what happens is he goes and does that event, and then he falls off the earth for 8 or 9 months. You don't see him back. And I'm like, dude, you'd be better off if you went at it consistently 30%.
Yeah.
And go do your Atlanta Open, go do your Pans, do whatever, but be consistent in your growth versus, okay, you lost 11 months. Now, if you lost 11 months, you've actually lost 22 months. Like, why did I lose 22 months? Well, because you would have been training during that 11 if you're here. You're not here. You're out. So everybody else has been here.
Right.
And now you're behind. Right. So, it can kind of come back and get you. Every day you're off the mat, you lose 2.
Right. That's crazy.
So you're better off just stay with it.
Yeah.
And if if you're going through a spell where maybe your enthusiasm's a little low, and I have that, it's my job. Anybody, there's things with everybody's job that you don't kind of like sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
But I know I need to be on the mats. I need to do this. I need to do this. And you don't feel like it that day. So what, Lindy? Go do it.
And the great thing is this is a journey, Playing high school football is not really a journey. It's a part of it, but it's not really a journey because you stop playing.
It's going to be done.
When you're in 12th grade and you're a senior in high school. 80% of y'all, 90% of y'all are not going to the next level, So for me, it's just consistent training I can go as long forever as I want to, it holds me accountable. I sign up. I'm not wasting my money if I don't even look at it anymore like that. It's like,
just do it.
I just do it. Like, it's just a part. I'm literally, it's a part of my life now. It's like brushing my teeth. Like, if I haven't been to class this week, I'm getting my ass there.
Well, Megaton.
Megaton, remind me. I'm having a brain.
Jiu-Jitsu guy, Mackenzie Dern's dad.
Yes.
So he made a statement. He says, I'm gonna make the IBJJF mad because I'm going to die on one of their mats one day. And,
so he's trying to die out there.
Well, he's going to compete to the end. And he said, man, one of these days they're going to roll me out of here. Oh, and then what's bad is I'm looking, he's Master 6. I'm Master 6.
Oh, God.
So you get thinking,
Yeah, you could probably go against him at some point.
At some point. That would. Well, fortunately, I'm a lot heavier, so it'd have to be at an open before that would happen.
Oh, okay. That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's a lot of monsters that are up.
Oh, God.
Up close to me. But
Jesus.
fortunately, Bruno, I think, is a little younger than me.
Is he? How old's Bruno?
I think he might be Master 4 or 5.
Okay.
So, it would take a lot of stupidness on my end to drop down in age.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I was joking with somebody that it'd be fun. And I think I thought about this back earlier. I was like, man, it'd be fun to have him in my division, just to say it was in my division. And whoever I was telling that to was like, no, it wouldn't be that much fun. Just skip it, man.
Yeah, right. So what's kind of the future for you and your martial arts school and kind of what are you looking, what's the landscape look coming into 2026 and beyond?
Well, the nice thing about where I'm located now, and you've been there, it's more centrally located to the general population of Roanoke, where my old place, pretty much out in the outskirts. And if you were going to my academy, unless you lived out that way, there was no other reason for you to be out that way. So I pretty much marketed to out that way. There really wasn't any point of trying to market to the South Roanoke, because South Roanoke's at that time of day could be an hour away. Right. And for, if you're an hour away and you drive by 3 jiu-jitsu places to get to me, I appreciate it, but there's really no need for me to be marketing that side of town. Now I'm right off the interstate, so I can hit pretty much the entire city. You could be in my place. I live on the way far end of South Roanoke. I could be there in 12 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
So anywhere in town, you're going to be at max 15 minutes from my location.
Yeah.
So my marketing is going to greatly amp up to hit some areas that I've never even looked at, which is exciting for me. There's neighborhoods that, as a realtor, I knew they were there. But as far as like going into it and going for students, that's been something I haven't looked at. And the other neat thing that happened in my old school, there was an area that was developing right across the street when I first opened up called the Orchards. And the Orchards had just been developed. So it was a lot of middle, upper class incomes and a lot of young people. So had a lot of kids.
Gotcha.
Most of my kids were right across the street from me. So they were just right there. Well, that community's gotten older. You don't have the kids anymore. And, people are, it's become an older type community.
Right.
So I don't pull from there at all anymore. I pull more from North Roanoke and from South Roanoke. So putting myself where my existing students, and I've got some that have been with me a long time that are driving 45 minutes to come see me, which, I'm incredibly blessed that they would do that. But when I went to move, that was one of the really deciding factors about where I went to is I want to make it super convenient for my existing people. I want you to be able to, if you were able to come maybe an extra day because you're cutting off an hour of driving time a week, then you're going to spend that with me. You're going to spend that hour with me. Now, if I could start into neighborhoods that I've never even looked at, I'm going to catch a whole lot more there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just looking forward to a lot more growth. I'm wanting to retire my wife. She works for the government right now. I would like her to be able to get to where she's with me full time.
Nice.
She thinks she wants to do that, and I think I want to do that again. We did that a long time ago, but she has in her works with the government. She works for the Department of War. Mm-hmm. It's nice that she's got some definite skills that she has developed. She's got a master's degree in human resources.
Oh, cool.
So if you're using your customer as a human resource, then basically she could do what she does professionally. She could do it professionally for me as well, and then I can concentrate on the school, doing the parts that I feel like that I excel with, which is curriculum and actual teaching on the mats.
Right.
She'll be the first to admit she's a horrible instructor, but I'm an accountant, but I'm a bad bookkeeper. Right. So she could do what she's good at, and I can do what I excel at.
Yeah, that's right.
And then together we can have a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. I think you guys are going to have a kick-ass year coming up. I really do. You guys, that space, like I said, I've never been to your ones before, but beautiful mats, like just a nice, perfect facility that, you can really kind of grow from there. Big-ass mat spacing, easy, real easy, tons of parking, easy access, nice bathrooms. Like you guys really did a nice thing. And that's half the battles when someone comes in there, they feel like, okay, is it clean? You know what I mean? I'm not going to walk out of here. Right. Am I going to walk out of here with fucking, some type of virus or something, you know what I mean? Because I've been in schools and I'm like, good Lord, dude, this is disgusting. You know what I mean? Like a clean, nice facility to make people feel comfortable and things like that. So, and I will say all the schools I've been to in our lineage, everything is, you're getting your money's worth at that level. Cleanliness, everything's washed, cleaned, like, it's just, it makes you feel, you want to, with as nasty as we get, dude, you want that kind of stuff. You don't want to leave with ringworm and all that kind of shit that can potentially happen. So, yeah, I think you're going to do amazing things this year. And can you give us what's the address over there at your new location?
It's 5320A Peters Creek Road.
Peters Creek Road. Okay.
Peters Creek Road.
And it was actually super easy to get off.
Right off the interstate.
Boom.
Yeah.
You're like right there. You got all the shopping and whatever stuff was over there, the nice restaurants.
People that are familiar with Roanoke, it's at the DMV exit. So as soon as you get off, like you're going to the DMV, I'm like 100 yards past that. So it's super easy to find. Yeah. And I couldn't. And what's funny is we were actually looking at another location that was a little bit farther down the other side of Peters Creek Road. But when they presented the lease to me, they were only going to give me 6 parking spots. Like, dude, no. I'm not a laundromat. I mean, what the heck? We can't do that. So the place that I'm at now, there's over 100 there.
Yeah, there's plenty.
That room in the back. Well, I think you parked in the back.
Yeah, I parked in the back.
There's so much room that's there, and and then I've already had Professor Gibson looking at it, and he's like, you can handle this number at this spot, and then he said when the next renovation, he said we'll make it a little bit bigger. So we already have some plans, and I'm on the end cap. So and you don't want businesses to go out of business, but when they do, if they do, boom. Because I've been here for 20 years. Yeah. I'm gonna keep going. I'll have that whole thing. Yeah. And just keep expanding. Yeah. And then build it out and more mats and just more fun.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. I appreciate you coming on, dude, and this has been an awesome podcast and a lot of great information and conversation, and I'm excited to see what the future looks for you guys, and I'm grateful to call you a friend, a training partner, teammate, man, and I look up to guys like you and things that you're doing for business and in your jiu-jitsu. And so I'm really grateful that you continue to keep pushing yourself because it's continuing to push me.
Well, I want to see you as a brown belt, man. You've been a monster as a white belt. I was telling you last night, man. When I got a hold of you, I was like, oh man, here's another round with that dude because it was rough.
We'll
But
see.
you're-
We'll see.
You're strong.
It's the time. Yeah, we'll see in all due time, man. So I know I'm gonna keep showing up, dude, just for today, dude. I don't know. So
And I really appreciate the opportunity to come
Yeah,
out
man,
and do this because it's
absolutely.
it's fun to talk and it's
Yeah.
I get to do two of my favorite things, talk about jiu-jitsu and talk about myself. Man. I love doing both of it.
yes. Well, it's a lot easier when you can get someone on here that actually can like conversate and talk, because some people are like, what,
Well,
it's
and you're
like-
able to lead me in the right directions too, so I'm not just here. I know my students go, all right, it's just an hour class, Lindy. And then, if you're gonna chat, we gotta
right.
get a little bit done first.
Yeah. I always joke. I'm like, you have to leave class at our school because if Snyder catches you, you're there for another 45.
Well, the Facebook deal, right? Too. So if he sees that green light on, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this. I'm gonna get in trouble for this.
Get him. Let's go.
My that green light will go on at 2 a.m. My phone may be ringing, and because he knows I'm on my phone.
What are you doing, man?
You better answer that thing.
That's
and you're gonna be on the phone for a while because Professor Snyder does not sleep. He goes
zero. No. Oh, when we did the podcast here, he showed up. I've never seen a Red Bull that size. I don't even know where he got it. Okay. It was like a 2-liter of Red Bull. And like he pounded that thing within
And he had a
like
coffee.
5 minutes. No. And then afterwards I gave him a ketone IQ. Okay. This is like 11 o'clock at night. You know what ketone IQs are, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, here, take this with you tomorrow and check
not
it out,
now.
right? Boom, hammers it down. We're talking for another fucking hour. You know what I mean? And we're fully engaged in conversation. I was like, God damn, dude. I thought I talked. Shit, man. Oh, I love that guy.
Well,
to death. I love that guy to death.
I've had my students that have told me before, and Michelle will say, the story changes a little bit, but it's 90% the same story.
Right, yeah.
Just smile at him. And
Yeah.
Kind of like the easiest way. It's kind of like when the dog's humping your leg. Just let him keep going because it's just easier than if you tell him that you've heard it before, it's going to upset him.
Yeah. I never heard this one before. Never heard this one.
Really?
Before.
And then you did this?
Oh man. Well, man, look, appreciate it, dude. We're gonna get off here and get boogieing because I know you're gonna have to get rolling here soon. You got to teach class. So.
Gotta go teach.
Yep.
We're gonna teach the some of his black belts some eskrima tonight. So that's gonna be that's gonna be fun.
Put it down, my man. Well, thanks again, dude.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
We'll do it again.
Thank you, brother.
Later.